Up first tonight, some tense moments this afternoon for the owners of a 4-month-old German Shepherd puppy. The dog fell down a well in Fineview. We sent our Mike Boguslawski out there to see if he could help, and I assume that you have, Mike.
Yes, Ron, I'm here at 233 Lafayette Street. Now, approximately 2:30 this afternoon, King, a 4-month-old German Shepherd, fell down a hole in front of the house. Now, the hole runs 8 feet down, 12 feet across, and approximately 15 feet into the home. The dog stayed there. It cried emotionally. People were trying desperately to get the dog. We did everything we can. The call came into Channel 11 to me shortly after the dog fell in the hole. I called Mayor Masloff's office. I called the police department. We contacted animal control. We had people in the neighborhood digging to try to save this 4-month-old dog who kept on crying and crying. I'm here. There were people digging and digging for this dog. This hole is tremendously deep. It's big. It was muddy. It was just a tense scene here on Lafayette Street. People at times were crying tears in the eye to save the dog. We kept on. The dog kept on crying. It was crying. The animal control people did a super job. They were in the hole backwards. We had them by the ankle. The Pittsburgh Police Department, they were holding the legs. Minutes ago, just minutes ago, Timmy, your dog is out.
Thank you.
What do you think? What's your reaction?
I'm happy now.
You weren't happy a few minutes ago.
No.
And your brother, this is your brother here? Friend, what happened to the dog? Tell me, how do you feel?
I felt better. They out the hole now.
Did you think the dog was going to die, Timmy?
For real, yeah, because the way it looked, it was deep.
Okay. Well, here we are. What a happy ending. Boy, I'm so happy. And a lot of community people bonded together to save this dog. Timmy, good for you. And King, good for you. What a nice dog. Back to the desk, Ron. What a happy ending.
And Mike, we're happy too. Thank you so much for filling us in. Glad that puppy's out.
More with the same gun. And I'm Margaret Shortridge. Coming up tonight on Channel 11 News Night Beat.
Minutes are ticking away until the USX strike deadline. We'll have a live report.
Iraq launches a series of attacks on Saudi Arabia and Israel.
And investigators search for clues in the deadly U.S. air crash.
We'll have these stories and more just ahead.
After today's spring-like and beautiful warm temperatures.
Sounds great to me, thank you. Topping our news, there are reports this morning of a heavy aerial bombardment. Oops, I think I just lost my mic. Give me a second. Thank you, Mr. Cardell, I appreciate it. When we have these cords all over the set, we tend to walk all over them and they go places. Thank you, Mr. Cardell. There we go. I think we got it back here. How's that? Is that good? Okay. As we said, there are reports this morning of a heavy aerial bombardment on a 10-mile column of Iraqi tanks and troops said to be headed for the area where Allied forces have been in a 3-day firefight with Iraq.
Now is the latest on the war in the Persian Gulf up to the minute. Iraqi Scud missiles are still flying. Israel's under its second attack tonight. The Scuds landed in the mostly Arab-occupied West Bank. A U.S. Patriot missile also intercepted a Scud bound for Saudi Arabia. I'll be covering the meeting, and we'll have a report tonight on the the night beat. Excuse me, David and Peggy, back to you.
Okay, we'll see you at 11 o'clock tonight, Margaret.
Thank you, Margaret.
I really like that cake that duplicates your image on the icing. That would be really great to have somebody eat me on a... Never mind. It may be a while before some things reach your local supermarket. Actually, I still don't think that's a bad idea to have my picture on a cake. Don't look at me like that. I know, it didn't come out right.
That's all right. Hey, we'll blow out the candles too. It's party time. Guess what?
That is breaking news. The lobsters from Boston to the airport were right there when they arrived.
Well, John, as much as we want the lobster here at the station, you are a good man, John Fetko, to take them over to Children's Hospital.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's some great kids over there. We're going to chow down on them. We're going to have a great time.
Okay.
I hope you're planning on cooking them first, John.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
They looked a little raw there.
Good news, John. Thank you.
How company is trying to come between the union and its leaders to end the 23-day-old strike. That's coming up next. And the sentencing of Willie Mandela. All that when we come back. After nearly 9 years of legal wrangling, the families of people who died from Tylenol-laced capsules are headed to court tomorrow. The 9 families are seeking unspecified amounts in court damages. The company, Johnson & Johnson, maintains there was no way to know that the capsules were vulnerable to tampering. The 1982 deaths touched off a wave of national concern over the safety of consumer goods and radically changed packaging of drugs. The 9-year investigation cost millions of dollars, but no one was ever charged in those poisonings.
So until then, for Bill Cardille and the entire Newswatch team, I'm Ron J. Watch for news every hour on your 24-hour news source. Have a great weekend.
Tensions between blacks and Jews throughout this neighborhood have angry mobs running in the streets. A car accident involving a Hasidic Jew and a black child sparked the uprising. The Jewish man reportedly ran his car up over the sidewalk, killing one child, leaving another injured. As the 43rd Emmy Awards celebration began, the ceremony was hosted by Jamie Lee Curtis and comedians Jerry Seinfeld and Pittsburgh native Dennis Miller. NBC led the field with 86 nominations, followed by ABC with 845 and 69 for CBS. Another hero from the war came home today, the USS Camden, which accompanied the USS Nimitz on a 6-month rotation in the Persian Gulf. Returned to Bremerton, Washington. Now, the Nimitz, which was deployed just as the war was ending, returned on Saturday. The crew was greeted by loved ones and well-wishers as the ship docked at Puget Sound Naval Shipyard. Pregnant women to stay away from some insect repellents. Now, here is the warning from the Environmental Protection Agency. Repellents with the chemical 2-ethanol-1 and 3-hurinidal, I hope I said that right, has been linked to birth defects. Now, very few products actually contain this chemical, but the EPA says people should still check their labels before they buy it. It seems as though hundreds of jobs are at stake tonight in Washington County. Officials at the strike-bound Copper Power Systems Company in Cannonsburg announced that the plant will be shut down unless employees accept the company's new medical plan. As Dave Clark reports, time is running out. Senior citizens on low income or with disabilities get some help. The American Association of Retarded Persons, or AARP, is talking to local senior citizens. Now, AARP is getting suggestions to help improve a supplemental security income program. The group held a public hearing on the program at Allegheny County Courthouse downtown today. Our Gloria Moraga is live in Washington. Gloria, tell us about what the committee vote, what the vote was that led to all of this. Also from Washington, President Bush is expected to unveil a major cutback in U.S. nuclear weapons in a speech tonight. The president told the nation that he will hold the address this morning. Now, administration officials say his new plan marks a turning point in U.S. defense policy. Children headed for the classroom this morning. It was the first time they've been in school in 3 days. Teachers say they'll vote whether to hold classes day by day while negotiations for the school board continue. Meantime, class was in session for the kids in the Wilkinsburg School District. Excuse me, we just read that story for you. Rioters stormed the Romanian capital today with axes and fire bombs on hand. Well, time now for sports, and in for, who are you in for? John Fedko? We've got Derek Gunn.
Well, we were talking about Margaret's Christmas presents earlier. She really liked the Dustbuster, but it was that Vegematic that you got her, Dave, that she really, really liked.
That was really the Christmas capper,
right,
I think.
Her favorite.
It would be for anyone, I think.
What?
The Vegematic. Yeah. You said you liked that.
What's a Vegematic?
It processes the vegetables, you know, cuts them all up.
You know.
That's right. I didn't know what
Salad
that was,
shooter,
David.
one
I
of
didn't
those
know what that was you
All
gave
right,
me.
I'll see you later.
I gotcha.
Sure.
All right. Well, what would you do with more than $1 million? Stop working, take a vacation, buy a new wardrobe, buy a Vegematic? A millionaire aboard the Navy's USS Missouri is doing none of the above. It is the day that will live in infamy, June 6th, 1944, the beginning of the end of the Nazi invasion of Germany. Today marks the 48th anniversary of D-Day, the day Allied forces stormed the beaches of France. Fred Shearer of Upper St. Clair was just 18 years old when he took part in that history-making effort. They're not cheering yet. They're holding on. They're waiting for that last out, which should be coming very shortly. They've got a full crowd here. I want you to take a look at some of the fans. You know, I remember back in 1979 when we won the World Series. Remember the We Are Family? Well, I can tell you a lot of these fans are going to be reliving that type of family attitude here in the Pittsburgh area. We've got, of course, the Pens champions, and I think a lot of people still think of the Steelers as big champions around here, back from the days of the Iron Curtain. The City of Champion is getting ready to celebrate again tonight. One thing, by the way, everybody clearly remembers what happens when the Penguins did win the Stanley Cup, and that's why the police have sealed off parts of the Golden Triangle. I've also told that they have sealed off parts of the South Side. So things are going to be pretty wild, but the police say they are prepared for it. There's a lot of cheering. I don't think they want it. I think it's the second out. Everybody here's going pretty crazy, and it's pretty loud, but it's once again Pittsburgh fans getting excited for another Pittsburgh team on its way to victory. Margaret Troitman's reporting live from the Sports Garden. Back to you, David.
All right, Margaret, I think they're cheering. Only 3 outs left for the National League pennant because we're going to the bottom of the 9th now. We'll see what happens. Margaret, thank you very much for that live report.
It's a sight you won't want to miss. Now, you have to come in a car. Don't come in person. Come in a car, and you're going to see a sight you'll never forget. Back to you, Dave and Peggy.
The usually quiet Pittsburgh suburb of Bellevue is in shock tonight after a brutal murder there.
I'm not an expert when it comes to explaining how planes land, but let me tell you what they told me happened. Apparently the plane that flew in from Los Angeles did not have its landing gear properly coming down. It was not coming out the way that it should, so that the plane could not land on the runway. Now, what the pilot then did, as I understand it, was to do a sort of going up in the air, then down in the air, and then up in the air and down in the air real fast, trying to jar the landing gear loose, maybe thinking that the force of it would then force it down to come out. That's when the one passenger told me he almost got sick. The plane was just going up and down in a motion like that, and it was very uncomfortable.
Day 16 in the standoff in Waco, Texas, and now authorities are turning the screws tighter on cult leader David Koresh. The FBI bought spotlights to the Branch Davidson compound.
You know, why do they tell me how to say this crap?
Where people with guns have been spotted.
There.
Well, David, the good news is that there is no contamination to the area's water supply. You can see behind me, Gertie Run, there's a boom and a dike set up there. As we walk along the run here, it's really tough to see any fuel at this time. You can see another boom set up there along with a couple of bays of hell, and what that is to do is to soak up the oil or the fuel so it does not go downstream any further.
Washington, D.C. Mayor Marion Barry may get a bit of a reprieve. That is, if he's lucky. Barry faces resentencing on a cocaine possession conviction handed down late August. Pittsburgh ranks 7th among the nation's etiquette elite as one of America's best mannered cities. Charleston, South Carolina came out on top. Now, it was also followed by Raleigh, North Carolina, and Cheyenne, Wyoming.
And they're out of our viewing area right now. The cloud cover giving you an overview, well, there goes David Copperfield. Hurry up and come back, Bob Christ, and get this thing working. Anyway, to the northeast, and that'll take the moisture with it, and also this button. Some areas, mainly east, what a touch of winter. Stubborn, stubborn winter. You'd swear he was an anchor person. Anyway, right now, let's check out our Barbados for Olga. It's going to be sunny and 90 degrees. In Atlanta, 41 and partly cloudy.
You should have seen that smile that our associate producer, writer Ogle George, just flashed at you.
Well, she's from down that area.
That's
Barbados.
right. Cute little thing she is. Coming up next year on Channel 11, obesity can be a factor in many illnesses like heart disease. But now researchers have linked it with a deadly form of cancer. That's coming up in our medical report.
She's not so little.
I can't talk.
She's all right. Daily number 873 in Pennsylvania, 873. Nothing serious with the snow. Incidentally, Kevin Benson took a day off. Last time he went on vacation, he went for a week. He spent about all of his Holy Communion money. Now he's working on his confirmation money. So he'll be back with you tomorrow morning to tell you all the good times he had and all the sun he saw in the Caribbean. We'll be back with more news, too, with Lori Savage when we return to Channel 11 Saturday morning. And good morning. I'm Bill Cardille for vacationing Kevin Benson, who is spending some of his money today, his confirmation money this time. Last time it was Holy Communion money. However, right now, we have 22 degrees at the Carnegie.
To work with kids in some city schools. A judge says the officers could spot the signs that indicate kids may get into trouble. It all hinges on $60,000 in state money. Time now to talk some sports with, who do we have? Derek?
Oh, how soon you
I'm
forget.
just kidding, Derek.
I'll see you after this show is all said and done.
They looked good, didn't they?
Finally, they were in the money this afternoon. You're talking about money. We're going to talk about a money game.
Can we tap you for a second, Charles? Charles, were you drinking today while you were on the job? Were you drinking today? Charles, were you drinking today? Hey, hey, hey. Hey! Were you drinking today, Charles? Who was in the car with you, Charles? Straight shot. Was that? Straight shot. Hey, you gotta tell this guy to get away from me. Charles, I'm just doing my job. Were you drinking today?
Well, it is odorless, colorless, and tasteless, and can kill you before you know it's there.
Its carbon monoxide gas and methods to detect it have been a hot topic in Pittsburgh lately.
It was a hot topic on Capitol Hill as well. Vince Gerasoli is in Washington and has more live from our newsroom. Washington? Bruce?
David, Margaret, they look like smoke.
Well, the Pirates still at home tonight, looking to do well. We'll have that story in just a moment, but first, the Pirates in Philadelphia. Nope. We are going to have sports right now.
That's right. You were right on the money.
I was almost doing the sports there, John.
Yeah, well,
how did I do?
I don't know. I think you'd be very special doing the sports market. Maybe we should try it now.
Pop star Michael Jackson proves that he's still a thriller. Michael wowed the folks in a poor Brazilian neighborhood on Sunday. Hundreds of fans gathered on their roofs to catch a glimpse of the star. Michael is filming the latest video using the slums as the backdrop. Pop icon Madonna is causing quite a frenzy in Argentina. Madonna is in Buenos Aires filming Evita, where she plays the First Lady, Eva Pearson. Madonna greeted admiring fans who were holding a vigil outside of her hotel. Others are appalled that the material girl is portraying their national heroine.
Nadine Wimmer for NBC News, Jordan, Montana.
Lesbian. There are new details this morning on the Unabombers. And Chris, after the shooting took place on Newcastle Street in Butler, Terry Schreckengroff took his former girlfriend to a cemetery. Jim Schreckengross claims his brother Terry could never shoot anybody. Tack, who already has a protection from abuse order against Schreckengross, fell here where he died. Schreckengross then took off on foot. Tack told Schreckengross she'd go no further. That's when Schreckengross took off into the woods. Yeah, and she called police to tell them that she'd seen Schreckengroff. He sometimes has pretended that he is a ninja. You could tell by the stance there that he was warding off police.
From the Butler State Police Barracks, Bill.
Well, Peggy, Patrick Minard says had he known he would have been able to serve the full 14 years, he would have never pled to that no contest plea.
Up ahead on the night beat, another royal shakeup. Princess Stephanie of Monaco wants a divorce.
Ron?
Well, Peggy, it's trite but true, as is the case in most cases. It's two or more sides to every story, and this case is no exception. At a coroner's hearing today, we heard testimony leaning one way, but a victim's friend tells it another.
Channel 11's Ron Jay joins us now live with the panel's recommendations. Ron?
We're sort of hanging around having a good time. Well, we were out here working, but we do have good news. For those of you who love swing, slides, and jungle gyms, the city has now released their plans for renovating all of the 169 playgrounds.
Are in the eastern part of the state, but that doesn't mean Allegheny County isn't ready. Kimberly Easton is live to explain. Good evening, Kimberly.
Though we've heard it before, the Allegheny County Health Department says we must take heed. As summer approaches, we must use insect repellent, and we must get rid of any standing water around our homes that would attract mosquitoes. It's something we all must just do over and over again.
Costanzo is live. Jodine?
Well, Peggy, this is the dog here in question. His name is Rico, and he's now being cared for by animal friends in the Strip District. Now, since first coming here, he has gained weight and is getting medical treatment, but authorities were horrified by how he looked when they found him.
All right, in 3, 2. Joe, number 8 here, Tom's Run. Not much of a problem. John Daly would have been proud of his sponsor with that shot.
Well, he better be. Gee, it's tough keeping John up there. I put him in intensive training. You know, I have to show him this, show him that, but he'll be all right. Oh, John will come along. We're waiting for him in September. He's going to really do it with VJ Singh. Oh, my God, it's crazy.
The 84 Lumber Classic is loaded.
Yeah, it sure is. What's happening here Saturday?
Well, Saturday, everybody's going to come out and try and beat your shot between 10 and 2, playing a regular round of golf. Come on out, try and beat Mr. Hardy's shot. I'm Bill Phillips for Channel 11 Sports. We have an open house coming up for this weekend. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah, Mystic Rock. Oh, it's phenomenal. Wait till you see this clubhouse. Yeah, it's open to the public. It's free. VJ Singh's going to be there. Oh, I can't wait. I hope we get 5,000-10,000 people. I think we will, because we've made all these modifications in there. And wait till you see that clubhouse. So everybody come out and have a great, great time, a great party. And it's sort of the prelim to our tournament in September, but it'll be a taste for them. And wait till you see the changes and everything. Please come out. Beautiful day. VJ Singh. Yeah, really.
Well, golfers expect divots when they hit the links. It's part of the game, after all. But at South Park, some golfers complained the course just wasn't up to par. And they asked caretakers to start taking care of the property. Tonight, they have seen some changes. But more may be in works for the South Park area. Channel 11's Ron J. live now with more on this. Ron.
David, I have a sister up in New England. I can't wait to call her tonight and tell her how badly I feel about the snow up there. What a gorgeous day today. A perfect day to be out on the links. Well, we'll try the front yard here and miss the ball. How about that? Let's try one more time. Okay. I should have said 2 instead of 4. I only hit it half as far as anybody else. Went out to South Park this afternoon to check on the deteriorating conditions there and came away with a pleasant surprise.
First, because now it's in pretty good shape now.
Now, another factor in the improvement this year over last year may be that last year they only had 3 greenskeepers out there working the course, and this year they have 9. Reporting live, Ron J., Channel 11 News.
All right, Ron. That second police officer, we understand, will not be charged in this case. He was granted immunity he was granted immunity for his cooperation in this case tonight. Reporting live at Beaver County, Bill Wilson, Channel 11 News.
All right, Bill.
I think it would become much more attractive. I could be wrong, but that's my feeling.
Yeah, I guess you could be right. And my number 2 point is, you're a fucking asshole.
Hey, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. And if we ever get that delay system around here, we won't have to listen to that.
He says as soon as his bruises heal, he'll be back up in the air and jumping out of airplanes. As far as an official cause tonight, federal investigators aren't saying what they believe to be their preliminary guesses right now. Reporting live in New Swickley Township, Beaver County, Bill Wilson, Channel 11 News.
All right, Bill.
This is Channel 11 News, your 24-hour news source.
News at 7:55 this morning. 2 water main breaks to tell you all about this morning. Some 8,000 residents of...
Well, let's get right to Channel 11's Ron J. live in Green Tree to explain. Ron.
The fair at St. Simon and Jews has been an annual affair for over 30 years now.
Prosecutors add this test case will end up probably in an appeal court somewhere down the road. Reporting live in Butler County, Bill Wilson, Channel 11 News.
Still ahead on the 10 o'clock news. Today, the Pittsburgh Zoo shows off one of its newest residents. God, who wrote this stuff?
Was guilty of the same thing on a daily basis. Colville says in every case, prosecutors make decisions as to whom they will charge and with what crimes. Colville says the controversial nature of the Gamage case had little to do with the appeal.
If we would have allowed it to stand, or the Supreme Court would have allowed it to stand, it would have substantially changed the right of the prosecutors as they've never been changed in the history of prosecution in the United States.
Scott Bradley, who successfully argued the case, says the court's ruling puts the Gamage trial for Albert and Mulholland back to square one.
It'll go back to a trial attorney, and he'll prepare the case for trial in front of Judge Rowley. And as I said, I think the important thing is eventually a jury will decide what the fate of these police officers will be.
We tried to get a comment from the judge, Chris, from Judge Cashman tonight. We are unable to reach him. Bob Colville, on the other hand, told me that this case is still going to be extremely difficult to prove. He just wants a chance to have a jury decide the matter. Chris?
On the night beat, we continue our live team coverage tonight. Carol Chandler is in Overbrook, where Gamage died just about 2 years ago. And Carol, you went looking for family reaction tonight.
Channel 11 will not carry the message of the Ku Klux Klan. It is not in our consideration to be newsworthy, and it's something you have heard many times before. So if you want to hear what they have to say, don't stay with us. There is a peace rally going on the other side of town.
Butler County Bureau Chief Ron Jay had the mobile newsroom in Renfrew Forward Township, and he's live to show you the damage the vandals caused. Ron.
Yes, Peggy, when they were dating, Pam Rutledge, I should say, I'm sorry about that, Pam and Mark Rutledge, used to drive three-wheeled recreational vehicles on a 330-acre plot of land. They dreamed of one day getting married and buying that land. Well, they did buy it 3 years ago, and now they say nothing has worked out right.
Mary, he's live in Beaver County with what she has planned. Ron?
Well, David, from Ohio Township, where the murder took place, on into Beaver County, you'll see white ribbons attached to utility poles. Here at the Coffins in the Beaver Valley Mall, the employees are wearing white ribbons under their name tags. They're in memoriam for the murdered woman, but they are also in support of the efforts of her sister, who is trying to push through new protection from abuse laws in Harrisburg.
Me too. I'm like, another big surprise is the way this weather has changed, as we can see.
What is
Look at this. Dennis, I guess it's, what is it, about 70-mile-an-hour winds out there?
Well, close to it. This is Captain Orange from the top of Television Hill. When I agreed to be the outdoor weatherman, my mother told me there were going to be nights like this. And so here we are with very strong winds. Need I say more? I'll be right back.
Reporting live from CYS headquarters in Bloomsburg, I'm Margaret Shortridge. Back to you in the studio.
All right, thanks very much, Margaret.
Pope John Paul II conducts his largest beautification mass in his 20 years as Pope. He beautified 110 in Poland today. Beautification is the final step before sainthood.
The Steelers say this celebration is all about the fans and making sure that they enjoy the new stadium's kickoff.
11 coverage on the big change in the drought condition.
And as you may remember, the low water levels and high nitrates in the Zealy and Opal water resulted in Zealy and Opal passing out free bottles of water to nursing and pregnant mothers and to their young children, their young infants. Well, fortunately, that has all changed now.
We were also told that a temple there was shot up and destroyed a little bit, and they also found some swastikas on the temple there in Scott Township.
Our Ron Jay is reporting live for us now, has new information about the arrest. Ron?
Yeah, David, as you said earlier, excuse me, let me get this microphone on. Things have been obviously a little bit hectic all afternoon, and the microphone fell off, but I got it on now. What I was saying is, David, as you and Peggy have been reporting and our other reporters in the field have been reporting, we don't know yet the identity of the young man that was killed in the Center Township shopping plaza.
In this case, arrested this afternoon, Richard Baumhammers.
Well, Richard Baumhausers of Mount Lebanon has been here in the Beaver County Jail since last Friday night when he was arraigned. Now, Warden Bill Shoup tells me Baumhammers has been kept in isolation. Over the weekend, he's had visits from his relatives, his lawyer, and 2 psychiatrists. Following a 3-hour meeting yesterday between Baumhauer's attorney, William Diefendorfer, and a psychiatrist, Diefendorfer indicated he would petition the Beaver County courts to have his client put in a psychiatric hospital.
Baumhammers, who was of Latvian descent.
Now, you know the way things go. Here's a fat slob that's sent away for pills to make her skinny. Come on, you gotta cut down on eating. You should know better. If you have a consumer complaint, regardless of what it is, like this fat person, sit down and write me a letter. I'll get you some action. In Johnstown for this fat lady and Mike Bogoslawski, I'm in your corner.
And Jason Smart of Saskatoon, or Saskatoon. Close enough. I got it right.